Huh, this is interesting. Over at Richie from Boston, I'll show you this whole 11-minute video, but I got as far as this part right here. It says Bill Gates backs $1 billion plan to cover the Earth in video surveillance satellites. And I can't quite make out the date. We'll look this up in just a little bit here. But this makes one wonder, is this the weird, infamous objects that in Revelation 12, 3 and 4, the dragon swishes his tail and draws a third of the stars? Because from John's perspective, if he looked up and he was seeing these shiny satellite objects and or drones that would be operated by AI that would work in connection with the satellites, could that be what that's talking about? I don't know. Mayhaps, but in terms of global government, which we know that dragon represents, as well as Satan's plan and this Chinese communist retooling of the earth in this Chinese technological prison. We just did the longest video we've ever did, a 2.5 hour long video going over that bombshell and finding out that they have deployed 2,000 medical workers working with WHO, which is a pretty dangerous consideration when you think, a whole bunch of medically approved entities that come from communist China with medical martial law and the pokey things, and God knows what's in those pokey things. And we're the debtor and they're the major creditor? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what's going to be deploying with that scenario. But anyhow, let's go to the beginning. That's weird.
Of January, February, March, April, May. The 2nd of May. How lame is that? I had to count on my fingers. At any rate, if I'm talking too loud, it's because I suddenly woke up and my ear was full of blood, literally, and I can't hear out of one of my ears right now. And that's just one of the few really strange things that's happened to me as of late, the last several days. So, whatever. Along with that, 17 of my videos in the last 2 months have been taken down. I showed you that video yesterday, but it is what it is. Check this out, all right? You see this? Michigan National Guard to test prisoners for COVID-19 in the UP. I don't know what the UP means. Upper Peninsula, right? Medical specialists from the Michigan National Guard are assisting Michigan Department of the DOC to test. Now, let me tell you something. There is no need in the world for a national emergency to bring in soldiers, ever. We have plenty of people that would be more than happy to volunteer their time. The DOC, the Department of Corrections, is one of the biggest lobbyists in the country, so they have more than enough manpower, etc., etc. There's no reason for this. But let me show you a little something I learned the other day. Check out this video I took 2 days ago in West Plains, Missouri. I'm in West Plains, Missouri. People that have lived here their entire lives have never seen this many vehicles. Holy shit.
It's not here yet, but it's coming.
Okay, so after I took this video, I went and spoke to a couple of neighbors, the people directly across the street. They did not want to be in video, but they said they've lived in West Plains, Missouri their entire lives. They're out in the middle of the Ozarks. West Plains is in the middle of nowhere. And I said, when did these trucks show up? She said, they weren't here. We woke up in the morning and they were all here. So they didn't see all these vehicles. Look at these things. Look at what's on these particular trucks. Let me show you this again. because I love how people think this is just fear porn, this is all make-believe, and this isn't real. The top of these personnel carriers over here have turrets on them. Turrets are for a large gun or an anti-crowd device. Look at all the Hummers. You see the Hummers? All of them have turrets. That's so they can help you. They can shoot testing kits at you, etc. But you see this? This showed up in the middle of the night. They weren't here, and then they were here the next morning. I spoke to 2 people that lived in this neighborhood. Why won't this play? I'm talking to myself. Why won't this play? I didn't mean to say that. I'm sorry. I can't hear out of one ear. I'm covered with a rash. My ankles are all... Something bad's happening to me, and I can't figure out why. But whatever. All these vehicles showed up overnight. They weren't there, and then they were there. Well, here's your answer. Because they're going to use the military to help. The military is going to come in and help. Now, I talked to a couple of local militia members in Missouri, because Missouri still has militia, and I spoke to the owner of Twin Pines Gun Shop, and he sent me a link, and I'll see if I can find this for you. A couple of his buddies are 18-wheeler drivers, and they were telling him that they were bringing massive amounts of ammunition out to, I believe, Utah. And he's like, I can't believe that. And they said, well, here's the coordinates. Check this out. And here they are. I just downloaded them 2 seconds ago. So here's one. These are the ammo dumps. And this is from a satellite, apparently. That's an awful lot of ammo being brought into the United States. Is that troops returning from home? Do you see what I mean? It's unbelievable. That's a serious amount, and especially for someone that owns a gun shop to point this out to me. And this is the location. And of course, they're going to give you some bullshit story, but just there it is. There it is, there it is, there it is, there it is. At any rate. So back in January 7th, and January 7th, before this entire thing broke out, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to remind you what I told you. Now, before I play this, pay attention to what Nicholson 1968 is talking about. I just find it's a very strange coincidence.
Better find out where the temple of God is, and you cannot put anything or merge anything with it. It's not supposed to be done that way. So
now, one thing you just said about getting rid of one of the best ways to get rid of the money is because everybody touches it and there's a germ. We were talking about the Bill Gates funding MIT and Bill Gates backing him, of course, because Bill loves people. He's always trying to help people out, whether he's poking your children with a needle or spraying things in front of the sun so you don't get that pesky sunburn. Bill loves people. They have the invisible ink tattoo that can be read remotely so they can tell if you've gotten your vaccines. Why would they need that unless there was a pandemic? That's the next step. And that ties right into what you just said. That'll do just like they always do. It'll be multifaceted. Force everyone, or actually make everybody want a vaccine because nobody wants to get sick, and then get rid of the money. And of course there'll be... Now, I'm not playing this again to say, see, we were right, but we were right. And the way we could figure out that this was coming was the information that they were putting out there. They always show you what's coming. But the war on cash is completely ludicrous. They're telling you because everyone touches it. Well, if that's the case, if they can't have cash anymore, the war on cash is specifically so people like myself, we can't live. I live strictly on cash. That's it. I save up, I travel, and repeat and repeat. If they have control over all your finances, every single thing you've done to live up to this point, you'll pay them what you owe them or what they say you owe them first. And whatever's left to feed your family, to clothe your family, etc., is what will be left over. If this was true, if it was because cash, everyone touches it, well, then they'd need to shut down Walmarts and Burger Kings and everything else because everyone touches everything. It's complete and total bullshit, and it's predictable bullshit because before this even broke out in the United States, I told you this is what the plan was going to be, and it is. Check this out. Nicholson sent me a text the other night, and it said contact tracing. And I said, what are you talking about? He left me a link, and the link wouldn't open, and I couldn't get a hold of him again. Well, it turns out contact tracing is something where they will be able to tell everybody that you met with, the person that you met with that day, everyone that they met, so forth and so on. And some people, even on the alternative media, are trying to make an excuse for this, saying, well, they already trace you right now with your cell phones. Great. They trace you right now with your cell phones, but now they're going to have an army of people tracing you. An army of people tracing you with your cell phones. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is just going to be the new world order, worse than we could ever imagine, and they're not going to stop this entire thing until their objectives are completed. They're already silencing people on the internet. They're already taking down videos. They're getting their AI up and running. And the certain things they need out of the way are things like protesters. I've met a lot of people in the last several months, and I've only met a couple of people that actually seriously want to protest. Not too many people are doing anything different than they were the day before this happened. Do you see what I'm saying? And of course, here we go. Bill Gates' favorite agenda is getting rid of meat because that all ties into global warming. Bill Gates is behind global warming. Bill Gates is behind the coronavirus. Bill Gates is behind biometric 2020, ID 2020. Bill Gates is behind everything, or he's the person that they're putting out there. I love these pop-ups, man. But Bill Gates apparently also has...
Okay, April 23rd of 2018. For those of us who feel increasingly like there's no place on earth to be free of prying eyes, and a new announcement from some deep pocket tech investors appeared to ensure humanity that global surveillance from orbit is coming and soon. On Wednesday, Earth Now has started up the hopes to provide satellite imagery and live video of real time using a constellation of satellites orbiting the Earth, announced its decision to become a commercial business. Investors include Airbus, SoftBank Group, Bill Gates, and Greg Weiler. Although the initial investment amount had not yet been revealed, the company announced that funding will focus on providing, quote, innovative and unique real-time Earth observation services, end quote. The service could provide information on storm monitoring, natural disasters, illegal fishing vessels, just to name a few applications, which, of course, include pervasive global surveillance. Just like the book of Daniel told you, and John in the Revelation told you. Just like Jesus told you it was coming. How did these men from ancient that place, how did they know? How did they know? Because the Holy Spirit is real, and the Son Most High is real, and the Father is real, and they told you from ancient Middle East geographical location, and time span. How did John know this on an island in Patmos in 95-96 AD? What is happening in 2020? Tell me if you know if your answer is anything other than the Bible, which is true. Weiler, a tech entrepreneur and investor in Earth Now, has already deployed satellites beaming broadband as part of his OneWeb satellite constellation project. The goal of the project is to eventually deploy, over 900 satellites to offer for-profit global internet services by 2019. Check. And it gets a little hard to read down here, but Earth Now plans to use OneWeb's technology to equip each satellite with, quote, an unprecedented amount of broadband processing power, including more CPU cores than all other commercial satellites. Apparently, coming down hard on you with communist technology is big business.
Eyes in the sky. Eyes in the sky, just like Elon Musk did. Do you guys remember voting for any of this stuff? Where we have 24-hour-a-day surveillance in the sky, real-time surveillance at all times in the sky, watching every single solitary thing you do. Plus, they can just shut off your money because they're going to get rid of cash. Plus, they'll have an army of contact tracing people that'll be following you around. This entire thing is a hoax, but this is what they're using to bring in the New World Order. And I'd have to tell you, even up to the moment right now, national parks are closed. I went to the land between the lakes in Kentucky, and everybody's running around wearing masks. And it's amazing how many Americans have fallen for this hook, line, and sinker. Still, to this day, we're going on 2 months since Trump declared a national emergency. I still have yet to meet a single solitary person that had a family member die or knows somebody that died from COVID-19. But I'll tell you what, all the videos that I had up with doctors, nurses, etc., explaining how COVID is nothing more than a mild cold, YouTube's finally taken them all down, all of them.
Yep. I'll probably have to try to edit out those things.
So you may want to pay attention to the doctors that are still up on YouTube that are going viral, because this guy can afford people like Dr. Buttar and Dr. Shiva. He can afford people like this that are up there guiding you in the exactly wrong direction. Believe it or don't. Richie from Boston. I haven't been in Boston in a long time, and there are already 5,000 people have already been contact traced. One of my subscribers, Dan Clemens, has been keeping me posted on Massachusetts, and it said coronavirus contact tracing program has reached 5,000 people so far as the state seems to reduce pandemic spread. Massachusetts was one of the first places to actually implement this entire bullshit thing.
Okay, I've had enough of his guessing. Now, if we go over to Camarose, I want to show you something else that goes along with this, but even more. Let me try to find it. Yeah, it's right here. All-seeing eye in the sky control system. Check this out. Look at that.
Above the clouds, up in the sky, bordered by space, is the stratosphere.
Look at that thing. Is this a connection potentially with the Bible trying to warn us about this Revelation 12:3 and 4 dragon and this closing in on you with the global government and the drones / satellites that work together, that if John looked up and saw these lit objects in the sky moving, he's not going to understand technology. Is this what the Holy Spirit was trying to warn us about and convey? Because it seems to make a lot of sense. Mayhaps. I don't know. There could still be forthcoming other explanations. My sense is this, especially if you're familiar with the verse. My sense is that as we get closer to the verse 5, rapture, harpazo, gathering together, glorification of the sons of God, the rescue of the bride, the children of God, and so on and so forth. My sense is that as we creep closer to that, this dragon scenario will make more sense, and this deployment of his tail sweeping a third of the stars will make more sense. Is that talking about literal stars? Is that talking about angels that are often paired with stars in the celestial? Is that meteorites? Is that some other something that we haven't seen before? Is it this technology? I don't know, but those are all things on the table, and they could all in some way or another connect in some type of manner. I don't know about all of them, but maybe some of them. And I mean, this is just a weird looking object. I could understand if this is what John was talking about, I could understand why he would call it a dragon. This oppressive, animal-oriented type of kingdom flying up in the heavens. You have Daniel that's looked at all these other kingdoms in relationship to coding them with animals. I don't think this is far-fetched at all.
SoftBank's next generation telecom system. High Altitude Platform Station, HAPS.
HAPs.
With 78 meters of wingspan and 10 propellers, HAPS is a lightweight aircraft flying at 110 kilometers per hour. The large wing surface is covered by solar panels.
Wing surface. Hello.
In the stratosphere, there is plenty of sunlight during daytime, and the weather is mild throughout the year, with little change in the wind speed. This condition makes a long-term, stable flight possible.
Flying dragon with wings.
The aircraft flying in a certain area for months, powered completely by the sun. One HAPS operates as a cell site with radio coverage of 200 kilometers in diameter, which delivers a telecom network serving the entire ground. Standby aircrafts are always ready to take off for maintenance and emergencies to offer constant, stable services to customers. As close as 20 kilometers to the ground, HAPS realizes low-latency, high-quality telecommunications. HAPS uses the same frequency with the one from on-ground cell sites, so existing devices will work without any upgrade. A system is used where HAPS does not interfere with the on-ground cell sites. Seamless handover between cells allows users to continue enjoying communications. Whether it's urban or rural areas, in light aircrafts and drones, the combination of HAPS and on-ground cell sites will cover human activities from the ground up to the sky.
Did you hear that? The drones. So you've got the airplanes, you've got the drones, you have the HAPS, which may perhaps be the Dragon. You have this whole litany of flying surveillance, the eye in the sky above you, the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, Ra, Horus, etc. Do you get it? Woo!
HAPS can serve as critical rescue and recovery infrastructure to bring stable telecommunications to people. It will also be an essential tool for remote monitoring in isolated islands, for IoT devices used for farming, dairying, and many other future IoT communications.
There isn't going to be any more farming or dairy cows.
HAPS will be able to provide high-quality services in developing countries short of telecom infrastructure. HAPS will soon make a super wide area telecom network into reality. Various field tests have been carried out and are in the final stage. Ever extending human activities around the world. With HAPS, there are no boundaries in the future telecom network. HAPS will lead an information revolution. A revolution spreading happiness for everyone is about to begin.
That is not the picture the Bible paints. That is not what the Bible says is going to happen, that it is for your happiness to be spread. A false peace is coming.
SoftBank will continue to create a broader future.
Not for you. You're not going to have a future. Human. So this is what I'm talking about. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pained to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child, that one new mankind in Christ, the heir, as soon as it was born, glorified. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. Rapture, harpazo, bye-bye. My sense is that as we continue moving forward, verse 4 will begin, 3 and 4 will begin making more sense. Anyhow, much more could be said about this, but that is enough for now. Oh, perfect. I had to look this article up really quick. Earth Now, our Earth, real time, all the time. Wow. That and Noahide. Perfect. And what is this? Bill Gates wants to spray millions with what? Tons of dust stratosphere to stop global warming. Oh, sure. I mean, he's just up to all kinds of evil, isn't he? My goodness. All right, I don't really want to hear about that. All manner of weirdness. This stuff is just getting too much. But this is where it appears to be going, into Crazyville. Population Bill Gates. Huh. Elon Musk's Starlink satellites light up skies over the UK. Oh, you mean like stars? What exactly was John trying to tell us in this technological age? This is over the Telegraph. I was going to end this, but now I got to share this with you. Thousands more satellites are expected to be launched into orbit over the next few years. Stargazers in the UK have reported seeing trains of bright light shooting across the sky in recent days. Oh, you mean like falling stars? Elon Musk's Starlink satellite network grows. One Briton said he has seen as many as 60 satellites shooting like stars over the UK yesterday evening, and it's like, no, Star Wars up there? You cannot make this stuff up. Another commented that there were weird and mysterious UFO-like lights spotted in the Somerset sky. Similar sightings are likely in the days and weeks ahead, experts claim, and you can see the best times to spot a passing satellite here. Mr. Musk's SpaceX business has been launching the satellites in batches of 60 since last May, with a total of 300 having been fired in the sky so far. However, the numbers are expected to ramp up rapidly. Really? The company has U.S. approval to launch 12,000 satellites and is hoping to do so by mid-2020. That's soon. Mid-2020, summer? Last year, it filed paperwork to launch an extra 30,000 Starlink satellites. I'm not comfortable with this. The plan is ultimately to create an orbiting network which can provide global internet coverage. Oh, sure, they want to make sure you can make a phone call from anywhere. That's all it is, right? It is an expensive process, and sightings of Starlink satellites in the UK come days just after a rival satellite company, OneWeb, filed for bankruptcy and laid off most of its staff. Oh my. It said talks for new funding round with its bigger backer SoftBank have broken down because, oh, you'll never guess why, of the financial impact of market turbulence related to the thing. OneWeb had launched around 70 satellites into orbit and had been planning to grow its network to around 640, but experts have suggested this would take a lot more cash to implement than what they had already raised. It was a difficult day for us at OneWeb. So many people have dedicated so much energy, effort, and passion to this company and its mission to absolutely lock you down with ironclad dictatorship powered by technology, communist edition. Our hope is that this process will allow us to carve a path forward that leads to the completion of our mission, building on the years of effort and the billions of invested capital to steal the vineyard. Oh my word. Oh, righty then. Well, there she be. Thank you. Bye.